Hi, it's Brian. This is the awards contender, and in today's video, I'm very thrilled to bring you my review of The Zone of Interest, which I saw at the Telluride Film Festival, the new film from Jonathan Glazer. This was quite the unique experience for me. I had heard great things about this movie since it premiered at Cannes last May, but I never read up on it. I did not know what the story of this movie was. All I had heard was that it was spectacular, that it was haunting and amazing, and you have to go see it. So when I saw it was playing at Telluride, I fit it into my schedule. I was like, I'm hearing really good things about this one. I need to check it out. It was a morning screening. The director, Jonathan Glazer, was there, and the lights went down, and the movie began. And let me just tell you, the opening 2 to 3 minutes of this film is just on black with kind of a haunting score, some sounds playing in the theater. Like, this movie theater was pitch black for a while, and you're just staring at a black screen. And I was like, okay, this is going to be more than a film. It's going to be an experience. When in the Q&A after the film, Jonathan Glazer talked about how he had been prepping this movie for many years. I think he said that they started location scouting in 2017, and they didn't start shooting the film until 2021 or late 2020. They were about to go, and then COVID hit, and so that pushed the movie back a little bit. And so obviously this was a passion project for its director, and you can feel it all the way through. This is not a movie to enjoy. I never really enjoyed the experience of watching The Zone of Interest. It's very slow, very quiet. There are moments in the film that kind of drag on, but because of what we know about World War II and Auschwitz, it's like the horrors that are happening in this community are hidden to us in the movie itself, but we know what's happening behind that wall. Outside this compound, this home that this family is living in, and it's like nothing bad is happening. You're just spending time with family members, having conversations, going for long walks into the garden, but like we're aware of what's actually happening in this place. And so there is lots of tension, even when not a lot is happening on the screen. There's not much music to this movie. There's no action. There's really no scenes of violence at all, I want to say. I don't remember there being a moment of a gun going off. You barely even hear sounds of terror or pain. Like, for the most part, we're spending time with this family as they go about their lives, trying to be as normal as possible. The Zone of Interest asks the viewer a lot of questions. And the main one is like, can we come to care for the humanity of a man doing atrocious things behind the scenes? The main character of this movie, Rudolf Haas, played by Christian Friedel, is the commandant of Auschwitz. And there are a couple scenes later in the film where he's giving orders, where he's intimidating, but for the most part, he's just like a family man hanging out with his kids at his house, spending time with his wife, enjoying a nice meal, going about his days as if nothing really is happening outside of this place. Everything is hunky-dory, and he just has a job he has to do to support his lifestyle, his family. And director Jonathan Glazer, who made Birth and Under the Skin, like, he is wholly uninterested in showing us images we've seen in a lot of other World War II films. This is not Schindler's List. This film is in every way about restraint. It's about allowing the audience to go there in their minds, to let the horror of the situation play out in your imagination. We don't need to see it. And in that respect, The Zone of Interest is extremely powerful. The minimalism, the vision Jonathan Glazer has here is extraordinary. I don't know how well this movie is going to play at the Oscars during award season, but I could see Glazer getting into Best Director. It's one of those films that not everyone, I think, is going to love, but there's going to be a lot of passion for this one, and I'm not sure if it gets all the way into Best Picture or any of the acting categories, but I do think Glazer, who has never received an Oscar nomination, I think he could get in for this one. This could be that kind of Cold War director nomination where the movie doesn't get into Best Picture necessarily, but it gets that director nom for its auteur director, who Jonathan Glazer definitely is. The performances in it are very strong. I think if the Best Actor category weren't so insanely stacked this year, Christian Friedel in the lead role could have a chance. And then Sandra Hüller, who is so great in Anatomy of a Fall, which also played at Cannes and Telluride, which I just reviewed for the channel. I think she is a very strong contender to get into Best Actress at the Oscars. Like, she could be a contender in Best Supporting Actress for The Zone of Interest, too. Like, she is excellent in both movies, as I said in my Anatomy of a Fall review. Like, this is her year, her moment. She is having quite the 2023 with both Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest, two completely different roles. I can't wait to see what she does next. The other actors in the film are good. The cinematography of this movie, it really does create this foreboding, disturbing mood all the way through. In the Telluride Q&A, Glazer talked about how he never wanted to use artificial light. That's why we get some scenes outside in the dark that look very strange. It's like we're watching this weird night vision in a few moments that are almost dreamlike. Those scenes are really striking. And then another astonishing thing he said in the Q&A is that for the most part, he was not conversing with the actors like on the sets. He and the camera crew set up a ton of cameras in this house that were able to be used remotely, so the actors in a way found this to be like performing in a play. You don't necessarily have a camera in your face, you can't see the crew, the director. Like, the actors on stage for the Q&A were talking about how many times while shooting this movie, they could do a complete 360-degree turn and not see any cameras or crew members. Like, they were really just on their own, inhabiting these characters, allowing this world to come to life. So how this movie was made is fascinating. I hope at some point we get a really cool behind-the-scenes documentary. It's just such a unique and striking film. The direction, the performances, the story, the sense of place, the ending. I won't give it away. The ending of The Zone of Interest is something else. I mean, talk about a slow burn that takes us to a brilliant, emotional, cathartic moment at the very end. Again, I wouldn't say I love this movie. I think the process of watching it can be difficult at times, and so for that reason, I drop it like one notch below the movies I really adored. It is a film, honestly, I probably will never watch again. I do more admire The Zone of Interest than I loved it. But there is just so much to recommend about this movie. It is one of the most interesting 2023 releases for sure. I really, really liked it. I'm so intrigued by how it was made. And again, there are some moments in this film that pack a lot of power on the viewer. And just from its opening black image to the very end, like, I'm going to be sitting with this movie for a long, long time. I don't think The Zone of Interest is going to be for everybody, but if you have a heavy interest in cinema, auteurs, original, and unusual films, like, I think you're going to dig this movie. I give The Zone of Interest an 8 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned in the coming days for more reviews from the Telluride Film Festival, including the bike riders and my final report on the festival, my 10 favorite films I saw at Telluride. We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.